Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn ads.com today.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever, with your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou, and today, a phenomenal young lady to the show, Dr. Traci Lynn. Dr. Traci is a renowned entrepreneur and visionary who has achieved tremendous success in the direct sales industry. As the founder of Traci Lynn Fashion Jewelry, she has built a thriving business that has empowered thousands of women across the country and turned get this, a $200 investment into a $100 million business. Now, if this is not opportunity to drop the mic and bring this Dr. Traci on, it's like, who does that and how she does it? So that's why we bring her on today. She's going to help us discover that. And with no further ado, Dr. Traci, welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. 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 Great intro. So glad to be here with you. Absolutely glad to be here.
It's an honor. You are the expert in direct sales, and we want to talk about that. And I know you, as a doctor, you have the leadership, you have the ability to kind of bring people together. And I want to talk about what got you started with the jewelry and then taking it to direct sales.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I started selling fashion accessories when I was 4 years old with my grandmother. That's how I got started. She sold clothes, all sorts of fashion items out the trunk of her car. And I was her assistant. So instead of me going to Miss Queenie's daycare, I went with sweet Janie Mae, my grandmother, and went on the journey with her. And I loved it. So as a little girl, I was responsible for two things: the customers' names, where we were going, and counting the money, how much they owed us, because she would always give them a little credit so they would pay her on time. So my job was to remember who it was and how much, so even though my grandmother, of course, kept the books, but in my mind, I was responsible for that. And I took that job very seriously. So I've been counting money since I was 4.
Yeah, that's entrepreneurship, right? That's a great way to learn right off the bat. Thanks to your grandmother, you learned direct sales and building relationships, right? Customer service. Because everybody loves hearing their name. And if you can address them if you have any sales, if you can build that connection, it's really important. Let's talk about other ways during the sales process one can make the buyer comfortable and kind of connect with them and resonate with them.
Well, in my field, especially direct sales, it's all people driven. And, people do business with people that they know, they like, they trust. So if they don't know you yet, if you have a likability factor, which means you're open, you're smiling, you're interested in them. People know phonies a mile away. So I'm always interested. That's one of the biggest secrets to my success, was that I was building people as I was going, not just building sales. I was building a sales force. These are all volunteer women. So I'm building sales forces. That's what brought in the sales. So people overlook that. They overlook community. Everybody wants to sell direct online. Well, you don't get to know your customers. So if you get to know the people, they begin to see you as people they know as family. They begin to see you in a different light, as someone that they can trust, and then someone that they can do business with.
How do we do it with the vast social media and trying to connect with people online, and there's ads, there's, social media, networking of some sort. Now, what you're talking about is the one-on-one, face-to-face, get to know your customer, do the due diligence. How do we do that? How do we marry the two worlds?
Well, you got to remember, I've been in business for over 34 years. So in my days, there was no social media. So I was
Correct.
forced to decide. There was still online activity going on because my software has been in the cloud since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And my business was national for many years. So I had consultants in different states. So I made a decision that I was going to connect. And everything is not a connection one-to-one, me face-to-face. But what I inspired them to do in their city with their customer was to connect with them one-to-one. But I used whatever medium was out there at the time, which was conference call, free conference call, webinars. These were all the precursor to all the social media. So I always understood how to use social media in connection with the actual relationship. I never let it take over the relationship. I would still do the same today. I would still make sure that I'm connecting, because even with my platform right now, so I'm dropping more connected pieces which are my reels, but I'm also, we work the DMs. The DMs are the phones. So we work the phone lines in the DMs. So you have to find your way to connect to your people.
Oh, well, yeah, well put. Thank you for those realistic examples, because you can direct message some of the potential clients. Yeah, and then keeping the real and adding a personal touch behind the business, how it's run and operated. I heard that speaks volumes as well.
Yes.
And let's talk about some strategies you employ to recruit and kind of retain such a large network. And we're talking about thousands and thousands of what was the number? Over 100,000 of women you kind of put together, or nationwide, nationwide. What are some of the strategies you use to do that?
I use the same strategies: relationship building, team building, bringing people in. I always made sure I made time a couple times a year to connect directly. In my early years of building, I wasn't trying to be national. I wanted to be local. Then I wanted to be regional. If I couldn't drive to the state, I wouldn't let you sell the jewelry. If I couldn't drive there and see your face, you couldn't sell. So 2 years, I played the long game. Everybody wants to play the quick, short, fast money game. Doesn't work. I wanted to build fruit that would remain and continue. So 2 years, if you were not within 2 hours, because I could drive to and from in 2 hours, if you weren't in those states, you couldn't join the business. And I drove to those states at least 2 times, if not 3 times a month. Some states I went to every single week. So I made a connection. I taught them how to recruit. So I trained them up how they should do it. And then once I did, and then it was a fever pitch of people trying to get in. We wouldn't let them in. Why won't you let us in? Why won't you let us in? So then it was like a fear of loss situation. How come I can't get in? Because you don't live in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland. So if you're not in those states, we can't service you, because we had a showroom. People came to the showroom every day, and I was in that showroom. So I did my office work in the morning. When we opened that showroom, I was in there greeting everybody, talking to everybody. I was never the big boss syndrome. They didn't even know I was the boss. They didn't even know I was Traci Lynn sometimes, because I was right there connecting with the people. That was a winning strategy.
Yeah, and I'm sure one of the strategies that led to rapid growth. Yeah, let's talk about how you managed to scale from the region to then no longer, if you're flying now. So let's talk about how you managed to experience such massive growth.
Well, everything I did. And of course, these are some of we don't have the time for me to go into heavy depth. So we're going to take a high level overview. And the overview is this: because I put the time and the resources into training the next leaders to help me with this expansion vision, and always giving them the next vision, always telling them where we were going to go. When it was time to expand nationally and shut the showroom down, and actually I made a move to Florida from Delaware, where our showroom was, and I didn't open up any more showrooms. That's when we had massive growth, because I had to scale to put everything in the warehouse. So it was always fair for everybody out of state to be able to get just as much as those who could come locally and get it. But what I did was train the people in those states so that they could meet every 2 weeks. Some of them met every week. Some met every 2 weeks minimum with their teams, with the people in the area. So we had satellites in every city. And that's how you maintain the connection. Because women, we love to connect. We love to get out and about. And so they had someplace to go. And then we taught them the home party. We weren't doing everything on Facebook Lives. It wasn't about the lives at the time. It was the home party. But we did it so much that when we had to convert to lives, we were ready. They knew what to do. So they could convert to an online platform, but they knew the value of getting in front of that home party, that hostess who had all her friends. It was warm market. So you weren't cold. You were always hot, warm to hot. So I just taught that strategy, and I didn't focus on the numbers. The numbers came to me. I focused on the women, and the numbers focused on finding me, because I was about growing them and helping them even be more, do more, and have more than they had. And everything else fell in place.
You're empowering a lot of people, empowering these women to be entrepreneurs, to start their own business, to take control of their own money, time. And that is, it's invaluable, the kind of power that you give them back. Let's talk about the business model for a little bit. What makes it so unique?
Well, direct sales is always unique. And even in my case, the only other woman that was in direct sales with that level of success was Madam C.J. Walker. So it was Madam C.J. Walker 100 years ago, and then Traci Lynn. There is no other.
Not Mary Kay?
Well, Black women. Okay, let me be more specific. Black women. So in terms of a Black woman, it was Madam C.J. Walker, Dr. Traci Lynn. Women, of course, you got Mary Kay. We can't leave her out, because that's what really inspired me when I read Mary Kay's book and saw what she was doing. So that really catapulted me into a whole nother level. But reading Madam C.J. Walker's book, then finding her great-great-granddaughter and making connection with her, but only in a Black woman, 100 years from then to now. So that's why I'm on the mission. We're not waiting another 100 years for a Black woman to come up in the ranks of helping other women in direct sales.
It's quite powerful, the power of that network. Now, what are some of the challenges that you may have faced? I see the good, we see the impact that it has. But what are some challenges that you have, some rebuttals that you've received and overcome?
It's so many that, we have to go year by year, decade by decade, because it's riddled with challenges. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. If it was easy and no challenges, everybody would do it. But it's a call. I've been mission blessed. It was a mission that God had me on. And I went in the mission, which meant that it wasn't always going to be easy, but it was always going to be worth it. And it would always work out, even when I didn't see it at the moment. So I had issues where people were trying to raise up another faction against me and take everybody from my business and move them into another business, because we were talking about direct sales. That's what sometimes people want to do. So I had to fight and combat that. And of course, we won that. So there's been even legal challenges, people with my name, using my name, using my likeness, and we, we own all our trademarks. So we had to fight, and of course we won that. Then we own patents. I have 30 patents. So then it was a big box store selling my item that I never gave permission for them to sell it. They got it from somebody who had a cousin over in China at a factory that was doing my stuff and saw how well it was doing. He gave some to his cousin, but kept my name on it. But my name is trademarked and my product is patented. So we had to handle that, but it opened up an opportunity with the big box store who was doing very well with that product. So there's a lot of challenges, but we always tried to flip it into an opportunity. Our products got held up by customs for a whole, 6-8 months. So we missed the selling season because they thought that I was copying myself. So they were fraudulent items, like some of the other designers bring stuff in. So they thought they were copies, and it was actually mine. And I was using a diamond trademark for a pendant hanging. Somebody else actually owned that trademark. I owned the patent and the name. So I had to buy permission for that person for the diamond, and they actually sold me the trademark. So I had to, what you got time to hear? Because all of that. And these are just things that I just came up with right now on the spur of the moment. So if I was thinking, I could have a list of about 300 for you.
Wow. Yeah. And I agree. The challenge is real. The struggle is real. But so much of that you come triumphantly, victorious.
Yes.
Over all that. And it gets you to really enjoy that notion. It's about the journey, really. It's about the next step. It's the destination so much is not really the goal. It's what you learn along the way, what you become along the way, what you grow.
Right. It's really it's the journey. But you and I can sit here and say it, and I can say it now that I'm not in it anymore as I look back on it. But there were a few things I always told the consultants, you were making history. We're making history. Yeah. We're making history because there was no one else like us in terms of the Black female doing that. And the only other Black male that was doing it was Dudley Hair Products. So we were making history, but it doesn't always feel like it. It felt like it to me, but other people can't always see it. And when you're in the middle of the journey, you want the goals sometimes so bad that you forget to sit back. And I had to tell myself the entire journey, take note, sit back, remember this. These are milestones. These are your rocks, your Ebenezers, your moments. Don't move too fast over this. Don't skip it, because that's what I'm going back telling you about right now, the moment. And how I actually did it. Now people want to know it. When I was in it, didn't seem like anybody wanted to know about it. But it wasn't for that time. I was in my season doing what I needed to do at that moment. And looking back on it, I am grateful I didn't give up all the many times I wanted to. Grateful I didn't quit. And grateful I moved above other people's opinions. And that is the thing that stops so many people from doing great things, is other people's negative opinions.
Look that. Let's talk about the product. You say you have over 30 patents, and they're for the pieces of the jewelry themselves?
They're actually for the bags. The patents are on their utility patents for the bags, design patents for the handbags, all the handbags that I designed.
Okay, so you have a slew of jewelry, handbags, accessories. Essentially, is what you have that you're selling. The network sells.
That's what they did before I sold it. Yes.
Okay, and what's your favorite piece?
My favorite piece out of the collection would be Thankful. Mm-hmm. Thankful is my evergreen piece that I made. When my husband and I were away, we saw a cross. We decided to come back and design something that represented that with a lot of bling in it. And we did. And that was one of our top selling pieces for 15 plus years. It was always an evergreen. It made every single catalog. So that represented my full thoughts on the opportunity in the business. So that would be the favorite piece.
Thankful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That. As a well thought out actor speaker, you have inspired countless audiences. Our audience, all entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, inspired entrepreneurs. How can you inspire them to strive for success? I love what you said earlier about you never gave up, you never let others get to you. That contributed to your success. What else can be added to that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this whole conversation can really for entrepreneurs. I mean, that's my wheelhouse all day. Just being relentless and resilient. So I would add those two R's. Relentless, meaning you don't give up because the door is closed. That door is closed, but that door is open.
Mm-hmm.
That door is open, not all the way, but the window right next to it is wide open. So, not giving up, being relentless and resilient, meaning that you're going to have setbacks, but you need to be a rubber band and spring back. So, you got to spring all the way back. They may push you far, but you spring all the way back and know your business, know your numbers, know your bottom line, know your IBITDAs. I mean, get to know your numbers on your balance sheet. If you don't know that, then take a course, then get a book, then go to YouTube, do something, but be aware. So when you're talking to banks and you're interviewing them, not them interviewing you, you're interviewing them, you know what you're talking about. When I sat down with the banker, I interviewed 40 of them at a time, because I had to see which one was going to best serve me. And I had to see products that they offer. I understood treasury services. So, I had one banker who taught me the ropes. And once he taught me the ropes and I moved from Delaware to Florida, I was good to go. I understood how to interview them. I understood all the products that were there. So once you learn the language of it and knowing your numbers and knowing what I wanted in terms of the products and services, that even garnered me a whole nother level of success because I understood my business.
Yeah, understand the data, know the trajectory that your business is going. So you're not blindsided. That's kind of interesting you bring that up, because usually in a household you would think the woman does not deal with that information, but that's why you're in the business of empowering women, right? That's another way that you empower women to actually take ownership of their finances and be knowledgeable to sit at the table and tell them, express exactly what they're looking for.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I want. I want women to be knowledgeable, to be in control of the numbers and the business and not be blindsided. Because I've seen women out there blindsided. They didn't know. And then I remember a woman was using a particular fulfillment service that I was using, but she let them do all her shipping. I learned that lesson early. No, you don't control all the money. So you do all the shipping. So I don't get the discounts. You get all the discounts. You get all the other benefits. No. So you get the relationship with the shipper. Nope. So I saw that. You keep it separate. Know it yourself. And I had some fulfillment centers say, well, if we can't do the shipping, we don't want the business. And I would tell them, then I'm going to take my 25,000 footprint elsewhere. They're like, you're what now? Wait a minute. You're what? I knew the size of my footprint. I knew what my business was and what it generated. So they would, oh, well, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Well, that size. Oh, well, I understand why you do your own shipping. Okay. So I understood that. And I wasn't afraid to use it. No one was doing me a favor. And a lot of times, women sometimes in business and men too, when we don't know certain things, we think we're getting favors. The only one that's ever done me big favors was God. He's the one with the favors. But the other folks, they ain't doing you a favor. It's all about the business. Try not paying it for a month. They're going to do you a favor and put you out. So you need to know what your business is supposed to be doing and who your business is and the potential of the business.
Of course. Dr. Traci, this is so amazing. Just connecting with you. I'm just thinking in the business how I can utilize what the things that you're saying. Let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
Well, my morning routine is full of a few things that are non-negotiables. So no one can say, oh, I need to have a meeting with you, but I can only do it at this time. Can't do it because my morning routine has to have prayer. I have to do 1 hour of fasted cardio before I eat. I'm going to be on that treadmill for 1 hour. So by 5:45, I'm on the treadmill. Yep. So I've had prayer, I'm on the treadmill, and then I'm going to the gym. So I'm going for my 8:00 training session that I pay my personal trainer to be there for me 4 days a week. So anytime after 10, all right, that's cool. But these are my non-negotiables in the morning.
Yeah.
And my seasons have changed. So when I was hardcore running my company day to day, my prayer time was a little longer. I'm talking to the Lord about it. It was a little longer because I had intensity. The heat was hot sometimes. And the only way for me to get a handle on that day and to be prepared for the day was I had to go and spend a little bit more time just having a talk with the Lord. So I would be in prayer, and I was never afraid, ashamed to tell that. And I still did some exercise, but not to the intensity that I have the time for. But that was a non-negotiable, and it's still a non-negotiable today.
Yeah, I love the way you put that, because I use that term as well, the non-negotiable. You can do a slew of things, 9 to 10 things, but there are just 2 or 3 that you cannot get the day going without. And for me, it's meditation as well. It's also that intention, setting that intention for the day, for your business, for how things are going to turn out. Like intention as this is going to be a great conversation. I do it for my podcast as well. That's crucial to kind of get the mind right, to set the tone for what you expect from the day. And I love to hear that you do it. Another non-negotiable is the working out. I mean, you do it twice a day. Good for you, Dr. Traci. No wonder you look so amazing. Twice a day. My goodness, way to go. That is important. It gives you more energy. It keeps you in shape. It keeps the body running. All the right things to make sure you continue to show up. It really is about, it's not just makeup anymore. It's not just the physical, get our hair done. It's more, what are we feeding ourselves to? What are we learning?
Yes.
How are we priming ourselves so that we can be better for our consultants, our clients, our family? And you embody that so well. Thank you for sharing. What are some of the things you're reading, you're consuming?
Right now, I just got Deion Sanders' book in the mail. So I'm going on a little reading time. So I call it, a mental vacation from some things, and I just start reading. So I'm reading that. Also, I'm going back to a book I read a long time ago, The E-Myth Revisited. And I read that because in today's day with virtual, and he wrote that way before virtual stuff, but he always talked about how you can have one person do 3 or 4 different things. So I really grew my business on the E-Myth. So I'm reading that, and I always find Malcolm Gladwell,
one of my favorite authors. Yeah,
exactly. So I like to read at least like 3 to 4 good things, and make sure that there's a lot of business stuff in there, and then just some personal stuff with affirmations. I'm always into setting the intention and keeping my mind right, and protecting my space, my energy space. So, and attracting the right conversations, the right people in my space.
What is that? Because people would think it's foo-foo. It's a lot of unnecessary work, but it's so pivotal. If for everything else, it's almost like your prayer time in the morning, right? Like it has to be done.
Yes, it has to be done. And sometimes we need to put the mind on a diet because there's too much TV, too much binging, too much Netflix. Think about the world today. Back in the day, you had to wait every week for your favorite little program. Now you can sit there and watch a whole season in 2 or 3 hours. So, and I have found my TV time has gone way down. And then, so my husband and I were looking at our cable bill. We don't even watch this. We don't even watch. Back in the day, we had all the movie channels. We had all the this and that. Now, with the Netflix and the this and the Apple and the Prime, it's like, wait. So sometimes I diet the mind and I get into reading more. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next week, dieting the mind. Just consuming nothing but that good information, because as many of the podcasts that I do, I can't put out what is not in. Now, mine is years in here in this well, but I need to still add the things that are relevant for today.
Yeah, absolutely. I find myself with headphones, walking around with headphones, just listening to affirmations or just listening to energy building, clearing the energy. It's imperative. It's imperative that it be done. And I'm glad you shared that on the show, because your level of success is a testimony to that stuff works.
Yes. And it keeps working.
Yeah. Where can we find you, Dr. Traci? How can we connect with you? What are your handles?
All right. Well, my handle, of course, anything at Dr. Traci, Traci, and then Lynn on, all the social platforms. I got on a green suit and big hair. So, and a blue check. That's how you know is the real me. So you can find me in all of that. So I'm really heavy on YouTube shorts right now. So I'm doing a lot of YouTube shorts, and I'm putting long form content on YouTube. But my day-to-day where we're heavy in those DMs is on my IG account. So IG, Facebook, and TikTok. So I'm there. And then I have two communities. I have Big Dog Wolf. So it's bigdogwolf.com. And that's my mentorship for women. And these are women-based programs for women who are starting a business, not quite at the six figures, but wanting to get there, or they've been in business and still haven't hit it. They've come up with a block. So they join me in bigdogwolf.com. And then I have the Icon Circle. That's a mastermind. One is the academy to get you where you need to be. The other is a mastermind for six figures, seven. Most of my women are in seven figures, eight figures, even going to scale to 9. So those women, we have different kind of conversations, but what I'm doing for them is a bulletproof. I'm bulletproofing them from all the things that will come against them at all those different levels in business to try to stop them. So that's my bulletproofing mastermind, the Icon Circle. And then I've got the Big Dog Wolf for women who say, I just need that voice. If I could hear you like once a month, if I could just sit there and just get in the room and be there and hear it and ask some questions. So they want that seat at the table, and they understand proximity makes all the difference in the world. So that's what the bigdogwolf.com is about.
Oh, good. Dr. Traci, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. And I tell you what, I have enjoyed myself. And thank you for being a great host and a gracious host and having me today. Thank you, Dr. Lewis. I appreciate it.
Of course. Likewise, Dr. Traci.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,